I'm going to be talking about how Boston is preparing for climate change. So Boston has been lucky. In the past 100 or so years, the city hasn't been hit directly by a major hurricane. But Boston will not stay lucky. This is an old map of the city, as you probably have seen, showing how much of the waterfront and a good percentage of the city was filled in over time. And in the future, with climate change and sea level rise, the water wants to come back exactly where it was before. But Boston is smart. The city has convened climate experts from across the region to tell us exactly what to prepare for. More rain, more heat, and sea level rise. And Boston is planning. The last couple of years have seen the first major planning boom in the city in the last 50 years, with Boston focused on the future of transportation, of racial equity, of schools, and of climate change. All of this under the umbrella of Imagine Boston 2030, our comprehensive land use plan that shows us that the areas that we're likely to grow in purple are also the areas where we are going to be most vulnerable. Which brings me to the question I work on: how can climate resilience planning make Boston better for everyone? In our first neighborhood coastal resilience plans in East Boston and Charlestown that were just released last week, we are trying to show that it's not just flood walls that we want across the city, though we will get a few probably. But we want a new waterfront vision where, and this is East Boston, this is the airport up at the top, a new waterfront vision where climate resilience means increased accessibility to the waterfront, more open space, and even more water transit across the city. This is the Greenway, a park in East Boston that we are proposing to elevate 5 feet, provide long-term flood protection to the entire neighborhood while also increasing social space and recreation. But time is ticking, and we are already seeing flooding across the Boston waterfront on high tides. So in less than 1 year since the release of the Climate Ready Boston report, how have we gotten the city to think differently, to look forward, to engage communities, and most importantly, to move quickly, all things that are very hard for cities to do? So we're identifying existing major investments where a small climate adaptations can have a big impact. We're doing that here in Sullivan Square, where a small road elevation can take the entire neighborhood out of the floodplain for the next decade. And here in Moakley Park, where the upcoming redesign of this 60-acre waterfront park in Boston can not only be an asset to the neighborhood, but provide flood protection for much of the internal part of the city. And we'll be bringing this to South Boston this winter, so stay tuned. We are trying to demonstrate that there are specific impactful investments that we can make now, and that the budget team in the city of Boston can have the confidence to fund. And this is the first year that the city has dedicated funding to climate resilience planning. And we're trying to spread the word. Since I'm the last one, I'm going to go on one more second. We're being transparent with our data. Thank you to Johanna and the audience for creating this map. And we're empowering residents through small grants and trainings to raise awareness in their own networks. And thank you to Kara for running this program. Sign up for it here so that we can move this scary map of a rising tide to an inspiring, tangible, and possible future for the city.